Morning, juicers. This is Edward, and I am welcoming you to another episode of Spirit Juice No Additives. Um, this is like, what time is it? It's 6:58, going on 7 o'clock a.m. in the morning. Took my sleeping pill, and I am well awake. But there's certain things that I wanted to talk about, but because I was doing the whole bipolar debacle, and then came down with a cold, um, that I'm just gonna, you know what? I said I'm just gonna jump on here and just go at it. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Today I got a variety of different things and people I need to talk about. First of all, there was on Gossip Girl, there was a little story she did in regards to Kel Michell, the comedian, and his daughter, who's, I don't know, she's in her 20s or something. She's grown now. But she doesn't have a relationship with Kel Michell. Kel Michell is the one that was dancing, that was in the bed with Nick Cannon. He's a comedian. I was going to say a comedian. Comedian. But anyway, yeah, I still got my cold. It's getting a lot better, but, you know, I still kind of sound stuffy. But anyhow, the story was about how she said that Kel, when she was 3 or 4 or 5 or something like that, he stopped being in her life. He sold the house or took the house that he had her mom and her in. And she haven't really been close with him since he left. And everybody was going in on her talking about she's 18 now and she should be worried about her own self and all these different things. And people were saying that she's 18, she shouldn't need anything from him and all this kind of stuff. I, first of all, want to say that is a pile of poop. Because my dad, from my own experience now, I'm going to say my own experience. My dad left when I was 3 turning 4. I remember like it was yesterday, him telling me that he was still going to be in my life. He was moving. My mom kicked him out of the house. We were living in the west suburbs of Chicago. And she was sending him back to Mississippi, where, you know, they grew up at. So she told him if he looked back, she'd kill him. If he come back, she'd kill him. And she didn't want nothing from him. A pile of poop. She didn't have the right to speak for me. Because my mom was illiterate, didn't have a job, had 2 toddlers, had just left Jackson, Mississippi, you know, with nothing. Oh, well, my father had a job, but I mean, how are you going to talk for me? How are you going to tell my dad not to come back? How are you going to tell my dad not to send me nothing, not to pay for me? You know, I didn't go to lunch. I didn't go on the bus. I had to wear the same 2 outfits all year long for high school and middle school because she couldn't afford it. Got teased, bullied, not fighting wise, but I was the last one picked on the softball team. But women, my goodness, stop marrying these men that you ain't gonna be with and having worse than marrying a man, having kids by men that you don't even know, that you don't even. I know nobody goes into a relationship planning a divorce. But sometimes things take time, and sometimes you got to compromise and sacrifice to stay in a marriage. It's not going to be perfect, but it can be perfect over time once you push your agenda, you know, well enough, and you get to know this person well enough and things of that nature. But to go in relationship and out and having different kids by different men, oh, you know what? And women have, you know, I love you women. I love you guys. And I'm only saying this because most of my audience, according to the statistics by YouTube, are women. I mean, it's selfish to me. It's selfish to keep having babies by different men, and then it's also selfish for putting a man out at the first sign of trouble. I can see if he beating on you and all this kind of stuff, which was the case with my dad. You know, my mom and him used to fight. He didn't used to beat her. You know, it was, she gave as good as she got. She's from Jackson, Mississippi, so, you know, they don't play down there. So both of them, they just fought. And he was short and skinny, shorter than her. So she was beating him and he was beating her. They were beating each other. But the moral of the story is he left at the age of 3, just like this girl, Kel Michell's daughter. And he promised he was going to be in my life. Even at 3 years old, turning 4, I knew he was lying. I knew I wasn't going to see him as much as he was telling me I was going to see him. Because me and him was very close. Me and my mom wasn't close because she worked all the time. And when she wasn't work, she slept. So, and she had 2 toddlers. But my dad filled in the gaps. You know, he was good with us. But that all ended when he left. And he was dead for like, I want to say 2 or 4 years before I even found out that he was dead. We didn't have a close relationship. He didn't spend a lot of time with me. I got all kinds of whoopings because back in the day, the landlines, you had to pay for the long distance phone calls. And I used to run up all our bills trying to get in touch with him and stay in touch with him and get him to send me stuff because I was poor and this and that and this and that. He had a job most of his life and, you know, he could have helped out. But women, my goodness, you didn't have this baby by yourself, first of all, and you should hold me accountable, not because of you and not because you don't want to see the man. It's because of the kids. Don't nobody care about you and what you and him got going on. I mean, especially when kids are in the mix. You want the best for your kids, don't you? If he's taking care of the kids, if he's capable of taking care of the kids, you need to hold him accountable for the sake of the kids. The kids can never get too much. You can't teach a boy how to be a man, no matter how big your balls is. You can't do it. It just can't be done. All you can do is on your best day instill some morals and values in him that would make him a productive human being in society. But is that going to make him a man? Is he going to learn how to treat women? Is he going to learn how to take care of a household? Is he going to learn endurance and stand with a woman through the thick and the thin, the sickness and the health? No, he's not. You can't be everything to everybody. You only one person, especially if you got multiple kids by multiple baby daddies. You just stressed out. You ain't got too much for nobody. It's just crazy how people think. Why keep having kids that don't have no daddy? I don't understand it. I was a child without a father, and I know how bad I wanted my dad in my life. It would have been easier for him to be in my life if he stayed in our area in the same state and, you know, it was encouraged or demanded by my mom. This girl is speaking from her heart. I mean, mom can be a mother to a daughter, but could she be a father to a daughter? No. Can she see and experience and learn how to be treated by a man, by a mom, or by her little boyfriends that treat her like crap, that she keep going through like groceries? No, she can't learn that. Could she be made feel like the center of the universe, the princess that she is, by, you know, it can come from a mother, but they want it from the father. A kid is meant to be raised by 2, not 1. That's just the reality of the times that we live in, is that people do not want to sacrifice or compromise. I've been in a marriage for 14 years without sex. And I've been, on the most part, I was resentful in the beginning, and I will say I cheated 3 times. But I had a child that was in the middle of all this. You know, he was only 8. So I'm like, my goodness, I have a choice to make. I can leave this man because of sex, or I can take care of my child. and be in the household with him and not have someone else raising him or someone else that he is building a bond with or not, that he have to contend with some outsider because I didn't make the necessary sacrifices for him. When I took him as my son, I made a promise to take care of him and be in his life, not from afar, but in his life on a day-to-day basis. So I had to sacrifice sex. And I know the type of person I am. I'm not a casual sleeper. I'm not someone that just can sleep with you and just go on with my life. I can't do that. I attach feelings with my sex. So I know if I kept cheating and being resentful towards him, that I would eventually leave the home and my son would be divided between the two of us, and however that looks. You have to make these hard decisions and hard sacrifices because you brought a child in this world. That child deserves the best and does not. I mean, then there's so many risks involved when you bring another man into the equation because, my goodness, he may or may not treat your child like his own. And sometimes we convince ourselves that's what he's doing, but the signs and the actions doesn't line up. But because we made this major decision for this child, we have to convince ourselves that it was the right decision. Oh, I got to be happy. No, you had to be happy when you walked down the aisle with that man and decided to make him your husband and make all those false promises and stand up there and lie and say you're going to be there for, through the thick and thin. This is going to be a one-time or one-off. You don't get dressed up to the nines and invite people and declare to the public and God that you go take this man on as a husband, and then the first sign of trouble, you out. I'm not talking about somebody that is being beaten and all of that, but the whole cheating on me thing is just ridiculous to me because I'm not a woman, and I'll be the first to say that. But when you think about and break down cheating, it just all boils about, okay, I don't deserve to be cheated on. Like he giving away something, taking something from me to give to another woman. What is he taking but a penis? If he's still treating you right and ain't nothing changed except the fact that he may or may not be out there cheating, my goodness, I don't know what you're complaining about because that sin is on him, not on you, number one. And number two, if you have kids by him, it's hard to start out over with kids with someone else because that's a whole ball of risk. If I got girls, he might want to sleep with my girls, be chasing them around the house while I'm at work. Or my boys, he might be too tough on them. He might not bond with my kids in the way that and treat them like I would treat them. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put no one else through my consequences for bad decision making. I'm not. I had to go through man after man with my mom, and they were all the same man, full of crap. Okay? But everybody jumping on this girl, but she's growing up in society where she need two parents. Decisions was made for her that impact her life. Just automatically when you turn 18 does not negate everything that came before 18 or everything that will come after 18. We have to teach our kids in the way that they should go. Okay? You can't do that when you bring in a revolving door of men in there, their father not in their life, and you for whatever reason, it's crazy. As much as possible, women should try to keep the father in the life. Sometimes you got to make the hard decision until you can get this child grown, especially if they have a good relationship with their father. That may or may not manifest still as they grow older, depending on logistics, depending on the fact that the man get another family. I mean, it's just a lot of mitigating circumstances that we have to think about when we have kids. So I am so glad she spoke out, and I think what she had to say was valid. That the man, the father, Kel Michell, should have made efforts to still be in his daughter's life. for obvious reasons. And she has the right. They say, well, why she come to social media? I mean, my goodness, I ain't got no relationship. The only way I would talk to him is if y'all talk to him after I post this. And then maybe he'll respond, or maybe he'll know how I feel. Because it ain't like he got a 9 to 5. She can come down and own his job or whatever. But my goodness, he's an actor. He's a comedian. He's all over the place. And she already ain't got no relationship with him. So how's she going to communicate with this man? I would have went to social media too. Not because it's going to do anything, but except get through to him, because you guys start talking and everybody start listening. Okay? And his job is all about popularity, all about having people behind him and supporting him in his acting and his being a comedian. Enough about Kel. He's a deadbeat dad. He should have been there for his girl, especially his girls, or his girl. He should have. And they shouldn't have pointed the finger at her talking about why she on social media. Now you 18, why you ain't 10. She is. She done went to college and everything. But that doesn't change the fact that she ain't got a relationship with her dad. That's stupid. Use your brains, people. Use your brain. Common sense. And don't go commenting in the comment section without listening to what is being said. Don't go putting words in my mouth and filling it in and doing what y'all do. Don't do that, please. I am saying that she's right. She don't have the tools necessary, or all the tools in her arsenal that she's going to need in this evil world, because two people came together and conceived her and didn't fulfill the promises that they made at some point, or didn't take the time to get to know the person that they were making promises to. It's just wrong. Now, getting back to my marriage, yeah, I had to make hard sacrifices. Not for me. I had to negate what I felt would make me happy. Of course, not having sex for years is a big issue to most people. But on the most part, it kind of showed me how to compartmentalize sex. Because being gay and being out in the world, we think everything about sex. I can speak for myself. I ain't gonna speak for all gay people, but most gay men, I'm gonna speak for most of them, child, because they love to fall in love with sex, okay, instead of the man, the lust. So having that dysfunction in my brain, and then meeting somebody where medically we couldn't have sex, I learned a lot, and I'm still learning. We still married. My child is 22 now, and he has some semblance of a family. Everybody ain't me. I know that. So you ain't got to bother steaming them fingers up and typing them in. Okay, let's go to Cardi Red. Cardi Blue. Now, Cardi Blue says she'll fight a woman if she take a man. I'm like, do these people ever grow up? If she take one person can come into a relationship that you've established with the person. Y'all have made promises. Y'all confess y'all love together. Y'all have made investments. Y'all have children. And one person can come in and steal your man. I say, let them two people make that decision. Okay? Because if she can take them, somebody else can take them. And you can't fight everybody. Because believe me, you won't stay pretty if you do. Because somebody out there going to get a hold to that tail. Okay? And weigh it out. And then you ain't going to look no parts like yourself once you run into the right one. Trying to fight everybody. Naturally. Yeah, fight for your marriage, but fight in a way that is constructive to keeping them, as opposed to trying to fight a woman that ain't got nothing to do with the equation. Something was missing in your relationship. Your husband allowed the situation and participate just as much as the woman have. That woman didn't make no promises. She probably didn't even know about you. Y'all act like men don't lie. Y'all confess that they lie all the time, and then until it has to do with another woman. Oh, you knew. How the hell I know? You think this man is going to get me telling me he married already? You like to believe that. But there's plenty of men out here that ain't married. Why would I want to go after your married man? Off the bat. somebody tell me they married, they should first of all be wearing their married ring. Second of all, that should have been the first topic of conversation right off the bat. But you know me and lie, and they ain't trying to do all that. But Cardi B, that was stupid to even put out into the atmosphere. It's just ridiculously stupid to think, a grown woman would have her daughter thinking she got to fight for her man. Come on now. Her husband now. I mean, I ain't talking about no relationship. I'm talking about papers. Yeah. Got papers on this man. They in a marriage. Ain't nobody, if you got to fight for him, give it to her with a bow on. Because number one, he my goodness, it didn't all begin and end with this other woman. Oh my goodness. You want to be mad at something, but you can't beat that man, so you try to jump on that woman. Stupid. Until you find the right one, and she smartens you up with her fist. But anyway, that's the whole Cardi B thing. I just normally do these little outbursts off the top of my dome. But I know it was Cardi B, it was Kel, and then it was Shaquella Robinson. Shanquella. Now, it would be in the United States' best interest to round up these 6 and let the Mexican folks deal with them. Because number one, constantly we have here in America where people run to Mexico to get away. And then they have to utilize the resources of the Mexicans in order to get them back to the U.S. and have them extradited so that they can, not execute, but prosecute them. But constantly, that happened many times, more times than we can even count. Like, I want to say daily. People commit crimes here in the U.S. and run over the Mexican government, and the United States want them back. So now the shoe is on the other foot, and the FBI is trying to figure out a way that they can get to shine and prosecute them here in the United States instead of sending them over to the worst place they could ever be in jail. Send them right over there to Mexico. That's where the crime happened. That's where the murder happened. So it's which take precedence over any type of planning and all of that. They already lied to the police, but that was over in Mexico. Okay? Let these people, y'all want all niggas to leave the United States anyway. Send them over there to Mexico, to the brown country, so that they can deal with it. Okay? Now all of a sudden you drag your feet. If it was a white girl, all 6 of them would be on their way there and be pulling the grass and be growing around them. Okay, by now. That's crazy. And the Mexican government, like I said in the previous video, go back and watch it. It's the one I did just before this one. I think it was 2 days ago, 3. But the hands of justice move pretty quickly over Mexico. It's just getting all these pieces put into the right places to get the facts. With 6 people going to talk. Okay, and somewhere in there is going to be the truth that lines up with the evidence. So, yeah, it's taken a while because now these folks were allowed to come back here after committing this crime, and now we got to depend on the kindness of the United States, the FBI, to get them back over where they need to be at, where the crime originated. And it would be in the United States' best interest, so like, share, and subscribe this thing to do so, because we always have that problem over here now in the United States. Women being killed, people committing murders, and running back to Mexico. And then we have to depend on the Mexicans to round them up, find them, and then send them back over here and extradite them. Come on now. It is what it is. Unfortunately, Mexicans are dealing with a very racist country that don't give the same value on people of color and white folks. So it's just a big, ugly mess that we're going to see play out right in front of our eyes. It ain't bad enough that Shaquella is gone for some stupidity. And then we got to wait on the United States government to do their part. They know Mexicans, that's out of their jurisdiction. They just can't come up here and just start rounding people up and taking them back to Mexico. It's a process. And this process is going to go on and on and on just because the skin dynamic. If it was a white woman, they would have been there. They probably would have got off the plane and been sent right back on over there to deal with their mess. But nope, it's a black woman. So, should we expend any resources to, get these people prosecuted for her death? No. She black. Okay. What do we care? Okay. Well,